Okay, the geniuses will see us now.
I'm a pro.
He's very unprofessional.
Very unprofessional.
These are our newly arrived surgeons, Doctors Trowbridge and Greenbaum.
Doctor?
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 We're not doctors.
Are you sure they can handle this?
Oh, we can handle it. We're professionals.
You'll forgive us if we're not instilled with confidence.
Potentially unprofessional pieces of content.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Unprofessional. This is Dr. Trevor, your host. Today we have a nice and special guest. Dr. T is his name. So I do a deep dive on each guest, of course, before I interview them, right? But this time was a little different. It felt more like a roller coaster reading about this man. I mean that genuinely. And so let me just hit you with his resume. So he's got a chiropractic degree, whatever, Bachelor of Science degree in human biology, still super normal. He's also a certified clinical hypnotherapist, which I want to ask about. It's kind of cool. And then certified massage therapist. That sounds kind of nice. Might want to learn that. He uses focused intention, angels, and quantum physics in his practice. He is a human engineer for the universe to create miracles. That sentence is pretty wild, and we're definitely going to explore that. And then just to sum up, he has authored 10 online programs designed to transform the most common things that ail humans and animals. For the newest and improved ones, check out Dr. T's Got Your Back and Crazy Unknown Shift on his website, humanengineer.com. So without further ado, Dr. T, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks so much for having me on.
So, first of all, you're exactly what I expected to look at when I see a spiritual advisor type guy. Show them your hair if you currently have the long locks right now. Yeah, there you go. That's just what I expect. Either that or some kind of old whimsical man with a long flowing, gray beard or something.
I just shaved it off this morning.
Oh, dang. Could have had...
with a name like Unprofessional, I just had to show up clean and ready.
Sure, yeah, there needs to be a yin-yang thing going on. I feel that. Leads me to my first question. How do you get started with all this? With all those types of little degrees and big degrees and stuff, which one did you were kind of pursuing first, and then how did you go down to this path that you're on right now?
Well, I started with massage therapy, just getting hands on the body. A guy had a chiropractor do this really wild muscle work on me many years ago. That was the only thing that got me out of this crazy pain I was in. I was having unbelievable amount of low back pain, dysfunction, urinary tract dysfunction, bowel dysfunction, and it turned out to be a muscle that was trapping the autonomic chain deep in the lumbar spine. And I'd seen everybody for different stuff, and he used this specific muscle technique. And he was like, I've known you for about 4 months now, and you've had 6 different jobs. You just get tired of stuff. You figure stuff out, and you're just curious. You should really consider looking at the human body. You'll never figure it out. And so he was the one who inspired me to start with massage therapy and then continue from there. Well, I got in a motorcycle accident and broke my navicular bone, which you know is the hardest bone in the body to heal, tiny little blood supply. And you may not know that, I don't know, but you're a medical doctor, sure. So I don't know what you guys, what exactly your training is. But anyhow, I went in to see the orthopedist after about, I think it was about 4 months in, and he was like, this bone's dying. It's necrosing. We're going to have to do a major surgery on it, and we're going to have to cut a bone off your hip and plug it in there with a artery out of your leg. And, it's no fun. It might fuse your wrist. You may not be able to use your wrist. Son of a gun, we're in a bind here. This thing needs to heal up in the next couple of weeks, or you're in trouble.
Yep. Yeah, that's all legit. So you can have bone necrosis if there's no blood supply, and that bone is common.
Yeah. So I'm on the way home, and I see this yard sale on the side of the road, and I was needing a lamp at that time, so I saw this cool lamp. I pulled over, and the lamp was junk, and I was like, oh, shit, I'm out of here. And as I was leaving, I noticed this out of the corner of my eye, this book. It said, I don't remember what it said, Change Your Life or Heal Your Body or something with hypnosis. And it was a quarter, and I flicked the lady a quarter, grabbed the book, took it home, made a cassette recording. It gave you a script to induct you, to get you relaxed, and then they had scripts in the book. and they had one for blood perfusion. I think it was for menstruation or fertility or something. And I just changed the name to the navicular bone.
Sure.
I didn't even know what the hell the name was back then. I was a massage therapist. We studied muscles. So I went home. I listened to that for about 10 days, morning and night. It's cassette, of course. This is back when cassettes were big, the new technology. And I went back and it was 100% healed, about 10 days flat. And so that is what I was just like, okay, wait a minute. The mind did that. I mean, I was taking supplements and doing different things for the healing, and none of it helped it. And once we plugged it into the mind like that, that's kind of set off, and it got me started into looking at the mind-body connection and really just being open to and curious to, wow, what else is out there? And so fast forward a number of years, I continued my practice for a while. I was using hypnosis clinically for a while. A couple of years in, I kind of was doing muscle and hypnosis. And then I just decided it was just time to go to school and I looked at acupuncture college, I looked at osteopathic college and chiropractic college. And I just agreed with the chiropractic philosophy more so than the other ones. The acupuncture is earth, wind, fire, and, wood. And osteopathy is really more drug-based these days. And it was very hard to get into. And chiropractic, I like the philosophy that there's something in the body that is wise and intelligent, and once it's unleashed, it can take care of us. That's chiropractic philosophy in a nutshell. So I became a doctor of chiropractic. I thought I was going to be adjusting people, cracking backs, and my father was a chiropractor. I saw people come and go for 20 years when I grew up in the house, and my brother became one, and I've been to him for many things over the years. But my road turned my first week in school. I met this guy who was a 90-year-old doctor teaching this Touch for Health, and he was doing all these different cranial points and using muscle testing to figure out deficiencies in the body. And I went to him on the first break, and I said, "Hey, doc, I got a couple of questions." And he holds his arm. He says, "Hold on." He says, "Hold on." He holds his arm up, and he touches down here, and he's kind of looking off in the distance, and he rubs his finger all the way up here, and he stops, and he goes, "Okay, what do you want? What's your question?" I said, "Oh, what the hell was that?"
What?
And he says, "Oh, that's Sherry in North Carolina. She's having heart murmurs, so I just took care of him for her." Now, what were you talking? What do you want to know? And I was like, "Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. I got it figured out." And I took off like a dog with his tail between its legs. I was just like, "Oh, this guy's nuts. I'm out of here," And so I took off, and a couple of weeks later, I'm doing this other applied kinesiology course in Los Angeles, and there's 500 doctors there, and it's the higher levels of applied kinesiology. The guy's pretty famous, and there was a guy sitting in the corner, kind of fumbling around and looking at a book and kind of fumbling around, like, oh gosh, I knew him. I had known him from the class, and he was a pretty cool chiropractor. So I went over and I talked to him and said, "Hey, you're treating somebody somewhere else." He says, "Yeah, don't tell anybody." So I tracked him down at lunch and said, "Hey, so tell me about this. What is this?" He said, "Well, it's all quantum mechanics. It's all quantum mechanics, and I'm just using them in a way that I can make change in somebody somewhere else because, we're all connected, and this is how it's done." And he just, I think we spent 10 minutes together, and that's about all he told me. And I was practicing from the start of chiropractic college because I had that massage certificate and my hypnosis certificate. So I was already practicing. I already had a halfway full practice when chiropractic school started. And this guy comes in, and he's great as a ghost. I treated him a number of times, and a lot of stuff wrong with him. We got him back up and doing really well. And he came in for a tune-up, and then he's like, "Oh man, my mom." I said, "What about her?" She's in a hospital in Dallas. They're talking about quadruple bypass surgery in the morning. They're looking for the right doctor to get it done. They don't think she's even going to make it through the night, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, well, supposedly there's this little thing we can do. And so we sat down. I did it with him. And she got up and walked out of the hospital at 3 o'clock in the morning. She unplugged herself from all her stuff. She was in ICU. So she unplugged all of her stuff, got up and walked out. That was my first remote case. That was about 12 or 15 years ago now.
Wow. That's wild. I mean...
You're a medical doctor. That's they teach this stuff to us in school, right?
Yeah, not quite. Definitely not quite. So a few things. One, I mean, they like 90. You just lost like 99% of like all doctors and scientists with all that you just said about your life. with that said, I'm still here with you, Dr. T, and we are going to work through this for everyone that's still listening. Few things. So I'm of the opinion that there is a major connection, mind-body connection, that we haven't explored yet, that is instrumental to health and how we know it, and we're not tapping into it. And full in agreement there. I mean, you watch guys like Wim Hof, you might know on YouTube and such. And they have they're popular examples of like mind over matter, like literally fighting disease with your mental state and breathing techniques. So there's something there. I mean, that they've literally done tests of injecting him and his students with straight up bacteria and venom, and their body would fight it off doing these mind body approaches. So there's something
familiar with that.
There's something
That's
there.
Cool.
Whether you want to explain it with a bunch of other stuff, dope. Adrenaline, fighting off the pathogens, great. But there's still something there that is happening straight up from somebody thinking a certain way and breathing a certain way, which is pretty wild. And science has not quite caught up to that yet. And usually they say the best practices are just ahead of the latest science. With that said, that's a dangerous slope, I would say, because then you could just approve anything, in your life, because all the best practices are ahead of the best science. So, okay. With that said, there's something happening in modern science that we don't fully understand. There's some kind of link there, and I'm very excited to figure out what that is and explore it further, because I really think that'll be like a major breakthrough in modern medicine in the coming years. And Eastern medicine has gotten really far with that, and too far in some extents, and Western medicine's gone too far the other way in some extents. But, so yeah, that really leads me to one question I have, which is where you lost me, at least, is when you apply quantum mechanics to your patients. Not only do you apply quantum mechanics to your patients, which is tough to wrap my head around, but you do it when you're not there. So my question is, I guess I'm a little skeptical of it. So how do you apply quantum mechanics in your practice? I think of equations, like I think of, microprocessors requiring, I feel like your practice does not require quantum mechanics. What do you think?
Well, quantum mechanics, it's a huge field, and it's the idea that stuff is moving right in front of us right now that it looks solid. The tables, we know there's all kinds of space, and there's electrons floating around. There's all kinds of different things happening. Nothing is solid. Nothing is as it appears. Concrete floor has so much space in there, you could park a tank in there if you really tried hard enough. But if you strip away quantum mechanics, I call it applied quantum mechanics. It comes down to a few very simple things. One of them is the act of observation changes the outcome of an experiment, and that's a huge concept in quantum mechanics.
That's not necessarily quantum mechanics, right? That's just like That's just
it is. That is quantum. Yeah, that's where that comes from. Quantum mechanics. The act of observation changes the outcome of an experiment. They shoot two electrons.
I think that's just like a bias, right? In experiments.
No.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
Well, it's a Heisenberg principle that they can't disprove. It's the Heisenberg principle. Check it out. They can't measure two moving atoms at the same time. Once you look at them, it changes. And so that's a big deal. Once you understand, say you have somebody who's sick and we have consciousness, right? So how does consciousness, so really what we're looking at is consciousness using applied quantum mechanics to change the outcome of something. So for me, and everybody who's listening has had this experience where you think of somebody and they call somebody you haven't talked to in a long, long time, and you think about them and they call you, or you get an email from them, or they talk to somebody who who tells you, hey, guess who I saw the other day? I mean, it's a real basic, principle, but everyone listening has had that experience. I'm sure you've had that experience where you're just like, yeah, I wonder what so-and-so's up to, and boom. So that's the idea that we all are all connected, and that is our, are we all connected? Well, I believe we are, and that's what consciousness is. So using applied quantum mechanics, we are able to access consciousness to figure out what's gone wrong in a body. Why is somebody's knee not healed after 20 years of, prednisone injections, tons of acupuncture, adjustments, nutrition, ultrasound, everything that they do, and they finally replace it because it couldn't be fixed. Well, what the heck's going on there? I'm curious. I want to know how to, what the hell? Why is that? What's going on in there? And so the class I'm teaching, we're using consciousness to figure out what's going on in there. If we truly are all one, that's the mantra. If we truly are all one, we should be able to access that and get information from that about one another. And as a doctor, we're able to ask, I've created a real simple recipe to ask really broad questions that narrows down where the dysfunction's gone on in the body using consciousness, using this method I've shown. It's like a biofeedback mechanism to ask questions about what's happening on somebody anywhere in the world, anytime. I don't even need to see them. I mean, you could tell me, hey, my uncle's in the hospital. Can you help him? I'd be like, well, sure. Send me some money, and then no, I'm just kidding. But you literally, just by having that energetic pattern of him. I mean, today I did another podcast today where a woman has a cat that gets really sick, and I don't need to see the cat. All I need to know it's her cat, because if we truly are all connected, you have instantaneous access to what's going on, and I know this is the next leap, but using angels is how we make corrections. And I know this is hard to wrap mind around, but the biggest thing that I find that's going on with all of us, with everybody, is this uncontrolled pathogen invasions in human beings. We've created such a toxic environment. Our food is not nearly as good as it used to be. We've created all these things that allow this microorganism. We're a giant microorganism. 30 years ago, they thought blood was sterile. And now they're like, whoa, check it out. Blood's not sterile at all. There's stuff swimming around there. Things move, all kinds of stuff going on in there. And what I'm finding with so many chronicities in the body, I'm finding it's pathogens. And we don't have antibiotics for viruses. We don't have them for mycoplasms, cell wall deficient forms. Have you, as a medical doctor, you ever even heard of cell wall deficient forms?
Cell wall deficient forms? No, what is a cell wall deficient?
You probably have. I heard of them for 3 minutes in 2 years of microbiology class. Yeah, check it out. Cell wall deficient forms. There's a book on them out there that thick where this woman has cataloged so many pathogens that there's no category for.
Okay, so before you go on, sorry. So there's so much to unpack there. I probably should have cut you off a little bit earlier, because I can't hold so much in my mind at a time. But okay, so back to the first example you gave, where first of all, I want to say this: everyone being as one. Philosophically, and when I walk on a nice walk or meditating or something like that, it's like very uplifting, but also just feels right. You know what I mean? Like it just seems right. And then on top of it, everyone has had that experience of, I'm thinking it happened yesterday. No, it happened today. I thought about this girl that I haven't seen in a month and a half, and we were supposedly cut things off, right? And then she messaged me today, like an hour later, that, whatever, she missed me. That's crazy, right? With that said, I think again, 99% of the audience and scientific community and atheists and, doctors and just really the makeup of most of the Western world right now is still like, couldn't you explain that with coincidence? Or couldn't you explain that with random chance? Or couldn't you explain that with this or that? Or couldn't you explain that with placebo effect or a combination of all those things?
Of course. Of course, and that's part of my class. One of my sayings is "seeing is believing." That's one of the things that we're doing. We're doing these. I call, like, of course, most people do question and answer, and I'm like you. I'm totally unprofessional. I do show and tells. So I'm breaking all the rules, but we're doing these show and tells, and we're having the same conversation. And then I'm actually doing this with 30 people on the call and watching things disappear in everyone at the same time, whether it's tenderness in your hands, neck, back, legs, whatever it is. We're watching everybody on these show and tells get better in 20 minutes.
Don't you see? I like this. One comparison I make with that, because I've seen that before too, and meditation retreats, or people practicing mindfulness and stuff like that, and you kind of see, hey, everyone, feel like there's like a warm ball in your chest, and then it's expanding and expanding. Okay, now it's coming back down, and everyone can feel it together, right? But and so there's definitely a mind-body connection thing going on there. I guess the part where I get lost, and I hope I get found at some point, is that I comprehend. There's something going on there, but then when you start throwing in some of these other words that are hard to understand, or the way that I understand them doesn't fit what you're saying. Like, again, I still don't fully get the quantum mechanics, and I have to look up some of the other things, like Heisenberg and stuff. But yeah, it just, something's not fitting there. Do you get what I'm asking, or where I'm being lost?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I've done tons of meditation, tons of mind body, all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I've looked at all that stuff. Yeah. And all of it's fantastic, but you're not correcting. I don't know. We had this last call, we had a 20-year knee pain person. We had somebody with 15 years of shoulder pain. They've done all this stuff for it. You aren't going to. Most doctors don't see that disappear in 5 minutes. 20 years of knee pain in a 65-year-old woman, seeing it disappear in 5 minutes. You can meditate all you want on that and have your heart opened all you want. You're not going to see that disappear. So these are things. So
what are you doing?
Believing. Well, I'm using angels. I'm using angels, and what angels do, what they do is they match vibration. This is all. What was his Royal Rife's work from the 1920s? Royal Rife in the 1920s he's the one who discovered that you match the vibration of a pathogen, it explodes. Same thing as a sick cell, it explodes if you match the frequency of it. And they've tried to reproduce those machines. They're out there. They're just not very effective. They're just not as effective as a group of angels. I mean, it's instantaneous.
So they haven't been able to repeat it with machines, is what you're saying?
They destroyed all of his equipment. You got to check him out. He's Royal. His name, come on, what a name, right? Royal Rife. He invented this microscope that was insane, huge, and then he started registering and cataloging all these pathogens in the body that were causing disease, and he started exposing them to different vibrations and frequencies. It's an amazing story, and it worked, and it worked really well. And it worked too well. They didn't care for it to be out there, and so they quashed it. And they have since they've been around probably 20 years. The machines have, but I know a lot of people who have them, and they call me when they get sick. They're like, hey, I need help. My machine's not doing it. I need help. And so I know that the angels have. They have priority. I mean, and everybody listening. And I know, again, it's hard to wrap your mind around, but 99% of people even listening have had an angelic experience. Something, and of course, and again, you can be, yeah, we can explain it away as a coincidence, or explain it away as this or that, and that's what we do as humans. Because we can't see it. It's easy to go, that was a coincidence. Yeah, like car crash in front of me. Had it not, I would have been there. I would have been the one who got hit. We have all these, and I'm no different. I mean, I've had so many things that have happened in my life where, gosh, had my hand been a half inch closer to that wheel, I'd have chopped my hand off. There's so many of these experiences in my life. I never ever attributed them to angels until the last about 7, 8, 9 years when I started being tuned into this phenomenon that we have access to using our minds and quantum mechanics and intention, focused intent. And so that's what I'm showing on these show and tells, and that's what I'm teaching in this class that I'm doing.
So why did you call it angels, or was that a term that somebody else came up with and that you now have adopted?
No, I always dug the idea of angels. I mean, as a kid, I was raised Catholic. I was the organist in the church, and so there was always the angels in there. And I'd always pray to Jesus on my way out. Hey, take me away, man. Give me any town. I don't care where. Just get me out of this place, right? And I had a couple of experiences. I had a woman come in my office a few years, about 15 years. You lose track of time with all these years in practice. But she came in and she was like, I'm going to bring my two sons in here. The first one's a jerk. Second one's a saint. I'm going to start with the jerk. So she brought the jerk in, and she was right. He's kind of a jerk. And we got all of his stuff fixed. We got him moving. And she was supposed to come in with the saint. And so she shows up the appointment alone. And I was like, hey, where's your son? And she says, well, he was killed in a car wreck this morning on the way home from his job. I said, oh, my God, I can't believe that. She said, yeah, he woke me up this morning at 4 this morning and said, Mom, I'm sorry I didn't see this ambulance. It ran a red light, and I didn't see it. I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, wow. And she said, yeah, he's with me here. He's with me now. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she says, well, he tells me you don't believe me. I said, well, I do believe you. I've just never talked to anybody who has a dead person speaking to him before. And she says, no. He says the only way you're going to believe me is if I tell you have a shotgun wrapped up in a camouflage jacket buried underneath a bunch of boxes in your basement. Yeah. My jaw was like, yeah, my jaw hit the floor. I was just like, okay. What does he want me to know? This is all true. It's true. This is what happened. And he starts in and tells me all these different times when I fell through ice when I was a young boy, probably 8 years old. My brother saved my life, pulled me out. We were ice fishing, and it was too shallow the ice was too thin. I fell through. My brother saved my life. Yeah. It's an Illinois story, but there's a couple of times like that. I've had a couple of these. I grew up on a farm, so when you grow up on a farm, you kind of have a lot of crazy stuff happen. And anyhow, he brought all this stuff up, and he brought up how I was brought to this house in Los Angeles that I owned, and how he was like, there's the angels brought you here. The angels are all around this place. They're carrying the energy from the people out into this valley. I had 40 acres behind my house in the middle of Los Angeles. It wasn't my property. It was the saved parkland, but it wasn't a park. It was just open territory. And he was told me all this stuff about all these things that only he could have known. She didn't know any of it. And at the very end, he said, well, they're just waiting for you to call them in. And I just was like, okay, all right, well, thanks a lot. We'll see you later. To her, she split. I never saw her again. And I didn't know what the heck to do. And fast forward a number of years, 7, 8 years, another client brought in an old book that had a chapter on angels. And I was like, what do you want me, at my rate, you want me to read a chapter on angels? She said, just read the last couple of paragraphs. And I did. And she says, I want you to do that for me. And he had an outline of how to call him in, and I was like, well, this just looks stupid. I'm not going to do that. This book, I don't remember what book it was now. It was an older book. I can't remember who wrote it or what it was. It wasn't even on angels. It was on something else, but it had a paragraph on angels. And so this client brought it in for me. And so I said, well, this just looks dumb to me. I'll just try how I would try it. And we did it, and unbelievable. We had a miracle right in front. She was burning. She was burning, her nose, her mouth, burning, her throat, burning all the way down to her anus, on fire. She'd been to everybody, tried everything, and it disappeared in 20 seconds. That was my introduction, and that's what happened. So that's how it started. And then I just started slowly using them, asking for help in all my sessions, and I just kept having these miracles. And when you start having results like that, people talk, and pretty soon I'm just been nonstop really since then. I know. I couldn't wait to talk to you. You stole my middle name. My name is Anthony Unprofessional. Okay. Well, yeah, we're doing these show and tells. I would, in some of these podcasts I've done, people have been sick. You got anything going on in your body? Anything odd that you're just like, yeah. I mean, you're medical, and all of us who've gone through any type of medical training, the amount of stress
Mm-hmm.
the amount of torture that they put us under,
Right.
is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, like
you know?
every
So
medical student's got like a, some kind of like neck issue or back issue or just like, whatever. I currently have not to get too sidetracked, I want to go back to my thoughts from before too, but I tore my shoulder a little bit, so I'm rehabbing my left shoulder, but yeah.
Well, we can take a look at that towards the end.
Yeah, we'll do that at the end for sure. I would love to have my shoulder cured. That'd be fantastic. Okay, back to angels. So again, several points that came up. One, I want to go over the origin. So angels, don't you think? I mean, it's a really tough word to use. You know what I mean? Like, it's so laid with symbolism and spiritualness and past religions that, to use it in a way where like, hey, we're going to, methodically, I guess, scientifically using quantum mechanics, things that are grounded in science, we're going to use the angels. That's just a tough thing to sell to people. Would you consider changing the word or no?
No, I've been doing it for so long. I'm not 35 anymore. I really don't give a crap.
But what if it helps humanity if you change the word? You know what I mean? Like, I can't.
Well,
like, for instance, if I wanted to sell this to my colleagues, the moment I said angels, not only 99%, every single person tunes out.
Yeah. I hear you. And so I'm not going after those people because it wouldn't matter if I called it Reiki, if I called it Shaky, if I called it, any name. They have a hard time wrapping their mind around energy and let alone remote healing.
I don't know. I think I disagree with you. I disagree with you. There's plenty of people who agree with things like energy or, I don't know about remote healing, but definitely like energy or oneness, these other things you've been talking about that are more grounded in, things that I'd say the world is coming more in tune with, like, again, like meditation, mindfulness, things like that, that I think those are much easier to sell. There's plenty of doctors who do whatever, yoga and freaking whatever, mindfulness training. Like, so I don't know, but to say healing with angels, I think that's just a new step. It's not only a new step, it's like 3 steps down. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I hear you, and it hasn't been an easy sell. That's why I'm out here doing all this. But I also think that in order to teach this and in order to pass this on, I have to say what's really going on. I have to say what I believe. And it is
angels.
It is angels.
And is it the classic like the classic winged figure that is a human like that's doing something? Is that what it is?
It's not. What I've done is because no one knows how many angels there are. Nobody knows who does one person have more control of them than another. No, none of that's true. So what I've done is I've used all of my other training and all of my other knowledge before the angels came along. Knowledge of the immune system, knowledge of nervous system, muscular, how everything works. And I've just basically identified what I just call there are just 3. We do 3 things. They're 3 separate groups and they do 3 separate things. So if I'm going to work on your shoulder, I'm going to bring one group in, another group in to help you get present, help clear out anytime you're in pain this long and you got a bad shoulder and you're a doctor, there's all kinds of distortions within your consciousness, within your subconscious and your consciousness.
So I'm on board with you there. I'm on board with you there so far.
There's all kinds of distortions. And so these angels come in.
This is a mind-body type thing we're still on. This is not, some extra thing. Correct. So I'm still with you. Like there's something, there's some kind of mindset. There's some kind of thing that you're thinking or subconsciously or consciously that is somehow leading to some kind of whatever. In my case, for instance, musculoskeletal continued chronic pain.
Yeah, and we can demonstrate this. I can show you. I'll do this set. That'll do this for it. The first set helps make you aware of the problem. The second set helps clear up these distortions that are created because, oh my God, what am I going to do for a living? I got my bad shoulder. How am I going to help my client? How am I going to scratch my back? All these little thoughts in the mind start creating these distortions that compromise your ability to stay present. And they compromise the nervous system from looking at it in a clean signal.
Okay, so this before you keep going, this feels to me like something I can understand. It seems like a being present, being part of the oneness of people, like understanding that you're a part of a large system and that as an individual, you're not an individual. So these are all things that I can comprehend and are said in many podcasts in many different ways among spiritual leaders and especially among people who practice like mindfulness. So I'm with you still, but yeah, okay, so I'll continue.
Yeah. So then the third set comes in and again, I go back to my recipe. So once we got you present, got rid of those distortions, we usually will see an increase. Usually you'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's 40, 50, 60, sometimes 80% better just clearing out the distortions, depending on how long you've had it. And then we get to the final group.
Okay, before you go to the last group, I guess I haven't quite seen that happen before, although I haven't really gone on, massive spiritual retreats or mindfulness things, like quite to that extent. I've done some types of like hard drugs and I've done some types of, I'm just going to do nothing all day type things. And those are really hard to do. And those have changes like in my body, I suppose you could say, but having an 80% decrease in pain and a chronic thing, that's what you're saying. Okay. I guess I haven't quite heard. And so that's just from mindfulness, being present and things like that. Okay.
Yes.
So
you hit it.
So this is where I'm getting lost a little bit. I'm still with you because I still understand these techniques and why they might happen. But I guess I haven't ever seen somebody like I've seen people, have less chronic pain from continued meditation and stuff. But you're saying in one sitting and that it lasts and that it doesn't come back?
Yes, I am. I am saying that.
So that's tough. I'd have to see that or have to see some kind of measurable. Yeah,
well, we're going to fix your shoulder. You'll see. And you got to come and check out one of these show and tells. We have one tomorrow, actually, and then I have one Saturday as well. We'll have 20, 30 people on there, and I'll do it for 20 or 30 people, and it's mind-blowing. You can't, it's hard to wrap your mind around, but seeing is believing.
Right, and I have, and to be fair, I have, though I'm skeptical, I have seen... Like, for instance, I'll just invoke Wim Hof again. I've seen a video of him with his students. They do this breathing technique for 30 to 40 minutes, and they're just like all the CO2 being blown off, right? Because they're essentially hyperventilating, right? They're just through their mouth and nose, just like, and they're blowing off all the CO2. They're oxygenating their entire body, which will do various things, right? But so it's stressing the body out. It's causing like adrenaline to be flowing through the body, and that partially or maybe majorly explains, why they could do things like fight off infection during it, or, he literally climbed Mount Everest doing this, and that's wild stuff that we can't deny, right? Yeah. So I guess go on from there.
I don't know him. I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, but that's just something that you don't have to go off of him. Continue your spiel.
And these distortions, there's a lot. Just about every technique has some type of description of them that I've studied, like using intentional based techniques, emotional techniques, these sorts of things. I've discovered the idea from I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Wetherill, and he was like a businessman back in the 50s, and his stuff is out there somewhere. I don't remember this website, but his name was Wetherill, and he used the concept of distortions around businesses with how people thought. And so I kind of took that, I started looking at that and go, let's just start. I'm just curious. So I love to experiment. And I was like, let's just try this with these distortions that he was describing. And I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. The longer someone's had something, the better improvement that they'll have. So if your shoulder's only been bad for 6 months or 1 year, we won't get as big improvement just clearing the distortions. It'll get better. You'll be like, hey, wow, I can't believe it, 30, 40%. Even that you would like, right? Even a 40% increase.
Of course.
You would like it.
Yeah.
And so once the distortions are cleared out, and I also use that group of angels for motion, just in case your heart was broken and you lifted something really heavy at that same time, which caused that tear. That it could be emotion locked in there for sure.
Let me say one more thing. Sorry, I keep cutting you off, but I know I'll get lost otherwise.
No problem.
One of the major differences between, again, guys like Wim Hof or like other spiritual guys who I've listened to is it requires continued and sustained practice. Like if let's say they do that breathing exercise of 30 to 40 minutes, that has like, essentially life altering stuff, right, for some of these people or most of them, but it's a mindset shift. They're not necessarily, they're realizing, you know what, I don't like my job. I don't like this. I don't want to do this. Or why am I doing it? I'm doing it for silly reasons. But they don't have necessarily chronic pain that goes away or is decreased by 30%. Though they can at that time when they're doing those practices, resist crazy amounts of cold or pain or whatever, this or that. But again, I guess my point being is that it's not a permanent necessarily thing unless you continue practice of it. But it sounds like yours kind of is.
Oh, it's permanent. I'm not interested in.
Okay.
I'm interested in being gone.
Yeah.
That's always
All
been my philosophy.
All right.
And as a chiropractor, chiropractors, God bless them, but a lot of them like you to come back all the time. And ever since the start of it, I was like, I want to fix. I don't want people to come back. I don't want to see them. I've never called someone and say, hey, you got to get back in here. I never tell anybody that. I say, you call me when you need me. And, for a quick example, I had a woman just call me a couple of days ago, 78-year-old woman who was up changing light bulbs, fell off her ladder. Last time I worked on her was 8.5 years ago. She had sciatic so bad she couldn't get out of bed. I treated her twice, almost 9 years ago. That's a pretty good long run for a 78-year-old woman.
Yeah, no kidding. Calls
me back, spice the old thing, and I treated her once. She's like, oh, there's just no way it's going to work this time. I treat her once, I get it 50%, and she complains. She's like, it's only 50% better. I'm like, good God, Judy.
Yeah, what do you want?
Give me one more shot next week. Yeah. That's probably the only time I've said come back, And anyhow, we fixed it the following week 100%. Bilateral sciatic all the way down top of her feet.
I mean, here's the thing also. If again, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But if true, this would be, if the scientific community saw it, at all, I just can't imagine why it's not, blown up, like crazy. Why aren't you the biggest name in the world?
Well, first of all, I've never done any of this. I've never handed out a business card. It's only word of mouth. I've only been doing this for about 6 months. I had clients who were like, you got to put something together to teach. Every time they come in, they spend the first 20 minutes. You've got to teach this. You can't leave the planet, not have this out there. I'm like, this isn't my gig. I should be sitting in your seat, unprofessional. That's me. This is how I go to work. I'm usually on a beach in Nicaragua half the year treating people. I'm just not it's just not my gig. I don't like any of social media. I barely got on here in time today. That's how bad I am. But luckily I have this team. I've assembled this team, and one of my clients actually, Sharon, wherever you're at, if you see this, shame on you. She's the one who brought the team to me, and they're the ones who are behind me. They're the ones who are setting all this stuff up for me to come out and I have to say, once I agreed to it, I got a couple of insights. They showed me a few things so that I can transfer this knowledge really fast. The training is 3 days. You will be doing what I'm doing in 3 days. That's crazy, but it's real. The last show and tell we had, one of my graduates came on, and I said, hey, what are you doing out there with the video off? Turn your video on, Jackie. Show us your face. And she turned her video on. Her hair was standing up like this. She said, see, this is why I didn't want to get on here. I'm like, well, what's going on? And she's a dog walker. She's a dog walker. Never been in healing at all. Doesn't know anything about the human body. Knows nothing about anatomy. Nothing about any sort of healing whatsoever. She did the class. And she's like, well, I just wanted to get on here to tell you about this dog that they were getting ready to put down. And I treated it 3 times, 4 minutes each time. That was a month and a half ago. You should see this dog jumping around, running around, Tony. And they don't believe it. I don't care. This is what she's building. Her practice is going to be animals only, primarily dogs. But this is the sort of thing that once I agreed to do this, I've had a few unbelievable observations that helps. Not only it helps give the person learning it quicker access, but also it's like a Spock mind meld almost. And so I use some of my knowledge from hypnosis and some of the things I learned early on in my career that I'm able to take that knowledge and plug it in. And in the first hour, this next class, the first hour, we're going to have a miracle. I think it's a miracle.
Why again? Why the terminology kills me a little bit because, like, let's say for instance, I'm fully on board. Dr. Trevor is Dr. T now. Like, I just completely believe, right? I'm fully invested. Like, you saved my shoulder. All these things, right? The very first thing I'd be like is we have to change the name of like 50% of this stuff. Like angels kills me, you know what I mean? And what was the other thing you said? Like quantum mechanics, like even if that's like partially the case, like we gotta just like change it to something, you know what I mean? Like it's just impossible to sell.
Well, I would have a hard time saying it's something that it's not. And when you do it clinically and you see it as much as I have, and you see some of the, I can sit here and talk stories all day long of stuff. You should see some of the testimonials on the website. I mean, some of these things are, look at the woman with the bad knee. They were draining her knee every 2 weeks, a knee that big every 2 weeks. I had her running in like 2 days. It hasn't been like that ever. It's completely healed, 100%. And she was like that for 15 years or some darn thing. They were getting ready to replace it. And so, you have to go see some of those things that have gone on.
So if for being treated, do you have to fully believe in the process and like fully immerse you probably have to immerse yourself in it, but do you have to like fully be like, what if I have like some skepticism when I'm doing it? Will it succeed?
It certainly would help to be open, but what I have found, what does help is just to get you to relax your mind a little bit. Mm-hmm. Just get you to relax your mind a little bit. It seems to work better for the angels. I don't know why, but I've had a number of people who absolutely no way would they see me. Absolutely. This guy, I don't like you spending money on this guy. Yada yada yada. And, the wife is like, I really need you to take a look and see what's going on with him, and we'll fix it. And we'll fix it. They will fix it. It's not me. I'm in another country, but they will fix it, and it will be completely changed. I've had it probably 15, 20 times where I now have a new client, the husband. It's usually the husband because men are just not nearly as open as women, but so it's usually the husband is now a client, and they're usually doctors or attorneys or accountant, some type of highly educated professional that completely doesn't believe in any of this stuff. But when they have it happen to them, they're like, "Oh my God, I better see what." Well, let
me tell you where I'm at, and then let's try it on me. Okay, I am currently at the point where I'm with you up until a certain point where it's like oneness meditation. I'm with you there. Then there's some gap here that you haven't quite hit me with, which I might ask you after we try this, but there's some kind of gap where things are immeasurable, which again is fine. We've already been past that to some point, but there's it's not resonating, like it's not hitting me. And then there's the being fixed, which would be the greatest thing. I mean, maybe one of the best achievements of all time in human history. I mean, if this is true, like the stakes here are so high that I'm willing to give this a chance. In other words, I'm open to this with some skepticism because there's some kind of gap there that I'm not understanding.
I completely understand. I'm the biggest skeptic there is. I've walked out of more seminars than I could tell you about. I walked out of an $8,000 seminar before noon the first day thinking, what the hell did I pay that money for? I didn't get a penny back. I at least give I'm offering a money back guarantee. You don't like it by noon the first day, you leave, I give you your money back. Who does that? Nobody does that because that's how
some people do that, but I feel you.
I've never been to a seminar where they'll give you your money back.
Oh,
never,
okay. All right.
Never. Not in the chiropractic field. No way.
Okay. Well,
that's just not what they do,
Cool. All right. Well, let me get a gauge here. I want to feel how bad my shoulder is right now.
Yeah. And what happened? What'd you do?
All right. So I was fixing, or just like reassembling a bunk bed for my niece. And like so I'm on the ladder up top, and then the ladder kind of slipped out from under me. So my arm went because my body went down on it. So yeah, I pulled like, I think it's like, oh man, I should definitely know my rotator cuff muscles, but I think I pulled on the
It's called sits. It's okay. Supraspinatus.
Yeah,
supraspinatus,
I think it's the infraspinatus. I think it's the one that
Teres
does
major.
the infraspinatus thing. It does the internal rotation. But yeah,
Where does it actually hurt?
so it hurts like along the right at the
Right in the
joints,
deltoid, right?
but I would say it feels like, it's kind of where the skeletal muscle is like attached to the bone, but it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's take a look.
What do you mean? You want me to like just show you the actual?
I'm doing what I do in my class. I'm measuring. I'm using my hands. It's how we figure out. So I'm entangling with you. I'm asking your mind, and I'm asking consciousness.
All right.
Hey, take a look at that shoulder for me. What the heck's going on there?
All right.
And so when I test, I just go here, and I just go through my simple recipe. It's all of 5 questions, and boom, there it is. I think I know what we're doing. So I will just come in and we'll do the first group of these angels. And so it's whole body, but what it is to do is to help your mind open up to these vibrations that are going to come in there. And then we're going to do this first group, and you had a measurement of what it felt like when you raised it up. Like, okay, it's definitely tender there, right? Okay. So we just let them come in and do their job. They have a very specific things we ask them to do. And so I just using, my intention. I'm just like, hey, come on in here and take a look at this doctor for us. Now, I'm just going to let you check that right there, and then we're going to do a little more of that. But I'm just going to see what happened right there.
Just so check it out? Just like the same check? Huh?
Yeah, same check. Same check.
Definitely still feel it, yep.
Is there any change at all?
I guess let me double check. I don't think so, but maybe.
Okay, that's all right. Okay, so this time I'm just going to have you. Actually, I'm going to have you move your right shoulder. I'm just going to take your right shoulder and just pump it up towards the ceiling for me, just up and down. Now the reason I do this, just like that, smooth. And the reason we do this is that it sends signals into the central nervous system. And I'm doing the same thing I just did. I'm not happy that we didn't get anything changed, but what we're doing here is we're just ironing out that central. No, that's fine. You're done. And so we're just we're sending signals into the same, all the signals come in, cross over. And so by activating that, a lot of times we can get more of this, what I call distortion, out of that bad joint. And this way we can just take a closer look at that. And let's have you recheck it again. Well, we're just, we're experimenting.
Yeah. I feel you. So I definitely still feel it.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I don't know.
There's no change.
There might be. Like if it is, it's very subtle.
Okay. I can deal with that answer. Okay. So I just come back and and this is how I do the work remotely. Is my medical bag consists of anatomy chart. And I don't use this all the time, but, we have a difficult case here. We want to make sure we get as big a chance as we can to have this fixed. And so I will pull up the head of the humerus and those muscles, how they plug in. And that's right here. Okay. Because this is where I'm finding is the cause. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. And so just take a breath in and kind of feel into your seat. Let your tension out of your body into your seat. Just relax your mind a little bit, almost like you're trying to fall asleep, even though we don't want you to sleep. And let's have you recheck it again.
Okay. Ooh, that didn't feel good. I kind of popped it a little there.
You got a pop?
I mean, yeah, I definitely felt it.
And you're pressing right in front, right at the coracoid process. Is that fair to say? Right in front of the deltoid?
Coracoid process.
Yeah, that's the coracoid process, right in front of your deltoid
because this
muscle.
is the deltoid, and I'd say it's okay.
Right in front of it. Is it right in front? Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely in front.
Okay. Let's take another look here. And let's have you recheck it again.
All right. I mean, it's definitely still there. With that said, maybe decreased.
It doesn't sound like that much. Let me just take another look.
Okay.
So let's have you just close your eyes for 1 second, or a couple seconds, and bring to mind grief and sadness and heartache and heartbreak. And, what else around grief? Just that disappointment and hurt, powerlessness sometimes. Some of the things that go on in life, some of the losses that we experience. The grief of medical school, just some of the things that have made you sad, in general. In life, different experiences, whether it's, someone passing away or a relationship ending, just some of the heartaches and heartbreaks of life. And you're going to take a small breath in, and you're going to tell it, I see all of that, I recognize it, and I release it. As you breathe out, see it come up and out of your body. You can see it come out of your shoulder, out of your body, doesn't matter where. And then I'm going to have you just move your mind over towards what it would feel like. Just imagine what it would feel like to be totally freed of the past. Totally present in the current moment and being able to accept all that life has brought. Just imagine that for a moment, just being able to accept all that life has brought, because acceptance brings that understanding that there's nothing to change in life, that all events, good or bad, are just opportunities for us to learn and to grow. So I talk to you so your mind has something to follow. These are these angels. They come in, they help relieve our distress of life. They help remove the grip of grief and anger and fear. They do a whole bunch of things. But for you, I just want you to just, again, imagine what it would feel like to be able to accept all that life has brought. It's a beautiful thing. And then I'm going to have you take a small breath in and a small breath out. And let's have you recheck the shoulder.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a difference. I'm not gonna lie.
How much? I'm stubborn as hell. I like 100, but I know it's been hurt for a while, but I want to hear how much. 50, 40, 70?
I'll say 35, 40.
35. Okay. 35, 40 on a torn rotator cuff. Not bad. Let's take another look. More emotion. Is it grief? Nope. It's anger. So bring to mind things that really piss you off. Oh, Christ, what am I thinking? You're a medical student. Remember all those exams and residency and trying to get money to go to school? Where are you going to eat? Where are you going to all those things? All the terrible teachers that just tortured the living daylights out of you. And I don't know what else. You can bring to mind bosses, lovers, non-lovers, family, events that only you know of, and that correlate with being angry, being fuming, seething, stewing, simmering, smoldering. Some of the things that go on in life that just don't seem fair. It's like, oh, not this again. Here it is, and gosh, residency, all I hear about residency is just pure hell. Well, chiropractic college isn't the easiest thing either. And a lot of stuff in there that just wants to hang around, especially in our damn joints. It's like, ugh, not this again. Excellent. You're going to take a small breath in, right? This time breathe into the shoulder, imagine in the shoulder, and tell it, I see that, I recognize it, and I'm releasing that. Now, it's a simple mind command. That's kind of right from Weatherill. And then move your mind over towards, again, what it would feel like to be completely clear of the past. And even better yet, what would it feel like to hand out passes? Yeah, everybody and everything gets a pass, right? The bosses, the teachers, the people, the family, the lovers, the non-lovers, all the stuff that's drifted through your mind, just handing out those passes. And again, if I don't talk to you, your mind will just wander off and think about dinner tonight or some other, crazy thing. Especially being unprofessional, who knows where your mind is going to go. But it's all I'm doing is holding this vibration of these angels. And again, they soothe the soul. They open your heart. They remind your soul of the beauty within. They soothe your distress from these earthly deceits and things that we go through. And they just sit in there until they're done. And then I'll just have you take a little breath in and a little breath out. And let's have you recheck it again. And we know when you're in pain, we know that there's injury. There is tissue damage. So we don't want you to tear it. We want you to check it from the very beginning, best you can. How much better is that now?
I mean, it feels pretty good. Like, it honestly feels like, it's still there, like, because I can still feel like a touch of like pain or whatever. But I guess I would say like 60% at this point.
Yeah, that's a lot better. So let's take another look. Okay. I'm stubborn as hell. I'll sit here all night until it's gone. No, I'm joking. Let's see. So is there more emotion? There's more emotion here. Is there not? There is. So I only look at 3 emotions in this class, and it's fear. Do you have unfounded anxiety where you're just like no reason all of a sudden a lot of medical people have this.
Course.
A lot of chiropractors.
Everyone has unfounded anxiety.
Not everyone. Not when I say unfounded, just that like you're sitting there, you're like, oh shit, why am I so damn nervous? Do you have that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have that. I think almost every single person.
A lot of people do have that. Yeah, you're right. But I'm asking that very specifically because
yes, I also have that.
Mm-hmm. And there's so I'm going to have you close your eyes for a moment and take another breath in and just relax your body. And I want you to look and check your body for that buzz of anxiety. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's have you pay attention, and we'll talk about this when I'm done, but let's have you pay attention to that buzz and tell me when it's gone. This is one of my, this is a discovery. It's just amazing. So you just pay attention to that buzz, and when it's really reduced, like say 80%, that would be enough for us to continue. And I show you in class. Everybody has a different experience of this, but I feel like a heaviness where I'm looking at what I'm looking at in your body. We're treating your endocrine system, primarily your adrenal glands, and that's starting to feel better to me. How's the buzz now?
I feel like it's still there. Honestly.
Okay, that's okay. It just feels better, but it's not gone. So let me see here. How about now?
I don't know. It's tough because I'm like on the pod and it just feels like
it's okay. It's okay. Hey, I'm just, I'm experimenting. I'm curious.
Sure.
It doesn't happen all the time, but you know what? That feels a lot better to me. So let me just because I'm finding this in you, I want to just finish this for your endocrine system, so it'll help you sleep. You'll start recovering. Right. Seriously, yeah. You probably have difficulty sleeping, right?
I've been a lot better lately, but I definitely did. But
Yeah, this will really help you sleep. I'm just going to finish this really quick, and then we'll get back on that shoulder, because anytime we find fear, we look deep, and it's part of my recipe. You find fear as the emotion, you look deeper in the body for the cause, and it's pathogen. Some kind of weird pathogen in your adrenal glands, making them pump adrenaline even when there's no bear coming out of the woods. So here's your pineal, your pituitary. There is a thymus in us, even though they say there's not. There is. That's fantasy that there's not. I treat it all the time. And here's your pancreas.
Who says there's no thymus?
They say we lose it after age 8 or 9 or something. That's.
Oh, you mean because the thymus?
Man, you're a medical doctor.
Because you're saying the thymus becomes the thyroid?
No, thymus, they say, dissolves by the time I think you're 15 or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Then there's still like the connection to your tongue. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, there's still connection to your endocrine system. There's still an energetic.
So you're saying it's still like pumping out.
Absolutely,
hormones.
it still matters. It's still there's still a functioning gland, and that's what I am.
What can you direct me to with that? With more information about
That'd be hard to find out there. That would be really hard to find.
Okay,
that'd be really hard. Yeah. So let's see here. I think with what we just did, you know what, for the sake of time, let's just get right back to the emotion itself. You should feel like, I think we said 60%. You should be another 10% with what we just did, but let's dig a little deeper so that we have a bigger leap, because I want to get to your nervous system and finish this off for you. But confirming this is fear, is it not? It is. So bring to mind anxiety. Bring to mind fear, being scared. Remember that last test you had to take, or I don't remember what the hell we called it, the final round where you had to go in and perform, and bring to mind anxiety around all of life. You know, we got what? We got it all. We got money, we got home, we have, partner, we have family, we got, the anxiety of the world right now. Do you think we feel any of that? Of course we do. We got a damn war going on, right? We got all this stuff. We're all facing war. I mean, of course it has an effect. And so expand that out to all the other things, being paranoid, being suspicious, stage fright, having to get up and speak in front of a crowd. You think 5 people are showing up in your podcast and there's 1 million. What the hell is going on? You think you only have 5 followers and all of a sudden you got 500,000 people. What does that feel like? So you kind of allow your mind to drift through all the different anxiety that comes with life and different events. And you take a small breath into that shoulder, small breath in, and you tell it, I see it, I recognize, I release all of that. Yep, I see it, I recognize, and I release that. Yep. And then let's have you move your mind over towards what it would feel like to have perfect peace of mind all the time, to be courageous. What would courage feel like? That certainty that you had the resources to change the outcome of anything that's facing you. That being dynamic, having confidence, being assured and certain and confident. Yep. And as you do that with your mind, again, the purpose of these angels is to get you present so that your mind, your body, and spirit are here in the present moment. Everyone talks about it. We all do all this stuff to get present. This is what they're here for, is to help you get present, feeling assured and certain, allowing that serenity back into the soul, into the mind that goes to the body. And you can imagine what it would feel like to have this level of peace of mind all the time. Things coming and going, just no buttons to push. Excellent. Take a breath in and a breath out. I know this is boring for everyone out there watching, but let's take another look there and see how well we did. I think that's going to be another 20%, and then we're going to finish it with a nervous system treatment. I think. I don't know. We're just experimenting.
It feels pretty good. I'd say honest, it's still probably about 60% better, but maybe a little more than that.
Okay, that's fine. So is there more emotion here? Nothing else now. Back to messages, back to right. Okay, so we're just gonna do. So this is like a massage technique that we do remotely. And this is like I call this the slinky. This gets rid of all your stress in your body. It's like a slinky, doing cranial sacral rhythm, so that your cranium and sacrum are in tune with one another. Here's some secret stuff that I don't name yet. Haven't named it just yet. Let's have you do that pumping motion with your right arm one more time. Yep, straight up. There you go. That's probably enough. And let's have you check that there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely still there, but it's a lot better. I mean, I gotta say.
How far are we? You're at 80?
I don't know. It's because here's the thing.
You're a tough crowd here, Doc. Come on, Jesus, you had some
for sure. But when you know, it's like a subjective thing. So like each time I press, I'm like, is it worse? Is it better? Like I'm trying to I'm really trying to give a real percentage. You know what I mean? But it's like, you know, I could be going through absolute hell. Somebody's like, you know, I feel like twisting like a blade into my stomach, but I bet there's going to be peaks and troughs and stuff like that during it. So I'm like, I bet my percentage would change throughout, even though someone's still twisting a blade in my gut, you know? So I don't know. It's hard. I'm having a tough time giving you a solid percentage.
That's okay. Hey, 60%. I mean,
that's wonderful, right? And
even 50%. Who gets that with the torn rotator cuff?
Right, and immediate results. I completely agree.
Yeah, but I just want to do one last peek.
Go ahead.
There's one last thing here that there's only one thing I haven't done. And like if you were in my office, I'd probably finish and say, hey, look, you know, you've been in pain a while. You sure there's some torn tissue? It should heal up now. Throw some arnica on there. Get some good, get a good supplement in you for joints and tissue healing, because chances are it's going to heal up now in a week or so without me doing anything else. That's the reality. We cleared out emotion. We cleared out pathogen, cleared out distortion. We looked at nervous system and some physical stuff, even though I'm not there to press on muscles. You don't have to be. That's quantum mechanics. By looking at it, I knowing how to do it, I can change muscle by looking at it, using intention to tell it to change with angels. And so we're just going to look at one more thing here. So here we are. So is this an event? Well, thought, no, this is an event. So, yeah, I will not talk about what we're doing. Not on here. We only scared 90% of the people away. We don't want those last 10 to leave. All
right, that's fair.
You got to come to my class for what I'm doing now. And so it's an event. Okay, so let's try that. There you go. Take one last peek, and then we'll finish talking.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny. There's something in me that wants it just to be better, and for this to work. And it's definitely better. It definitely is. It definitely feels very good. But I mean, I guess awesome. I'll say like 65.
Okay. Awesome. Hey, an extra 5%, I'll take it. And I'm stubborn as hell. I'll do this for a long time until it's a lot better. And we are doing these show and tells over the next couple of days. You ought to pop on one on Saturday, because the tissues will have enough time to get better, and we should be able to finish that for you. I mean, that's the nature of it. I will
definitely update everybody about the shoulder in coming episodes. Few things to say about it. I was trying to not suppress them, but not let them come out in my mind while I was doing that, because I was trying to fully buy in for it. What was I thinking? Okay. We don't have a ton more time, but one thing is, I mean, that all felt pretty. That all felt pretty mindfulness, that there wasn't anything there besides a few words you used, like angels and pathogens and stuff that was a lot different than, I guess I would say, really just trying to be present in the moment and let emotions go, and finding things that are bothering you, and which are all awesome things. I mean, I mean it when I'm saying that it feels pretty good right now.
Yeah.
With that said, I mean, I feel like that's due to that can still be explained by some things that I understand as pretty basic. Not that basic's bad, but I'm calming down. I'm letting some emotions go, drawing them up and letting them go. Like, and that's again, awesome. But like, I don't know if there's necessarily like, something crazy going on there, and we'll see. I mean, I'm being serious when I say, well, I'm going to test, how the shoulder feels over the coming days. But,
well, the thing with the emotional work that we teach, I mean, it's absolutely amazing because we're just scratching the surface here. We're on a podcast, we're not, it's not show and tell time. It's different. Normally I would have you tap on the shoulder. I would have you do a whole bunch more stuff, especially where you felt the emotion in the body. And so then the angels come in and clear out these distortions. And then we go back to that same emotion again. And you don't feel, we do that until you don't feel it. And that's how you know it's more than just mindfulness. Because you actually feel a lot of these emotional. I mean, I don't know what you felt. I usually do a little differently the emotional treatment, and on the show and tell, I do demonstrate it. People bend over. Oh my God, it's like I got kicked in the gut, and then it's not there anymore. And that's the difference. The distortions that are the vibration that's clears out the distortions. This is not mindfulness or meditation or hypnosis. This is a real energetic clearing of these things that we collect.
Okay.
As we have some of these negative experiences.
I want to connect with it so badly. Like I genuinely do, but I keep getting lost at different words like vibrations and energies and stuff. So like, again, like I kind of grasp some of it, but again, I get lost after, some of this, like relaxing the body, releasing emotions because they're unnecessary. Because I mean, a lot of them are, they're just like past traumas or whatever that are coming up constantly, or just like, subconsciously. Right. But like the release that
you never get all that stuff. You never get it. That's why they have all the tapping techniques. That stuff helps. It's good stuff. I've looked at all of it. This is just different. It's different. It's vibratory. It's angelic, and it irons out these things that we've had that stick. And they are affective.
Okay. And
you talk to so many people, and you bring up emotional events that they've had when they were a child, and they still feel it. I mean, I've seen a 50-year-old emotional affect. People have been in therapy for years and years and years. They're therapists themselves, and as soon as I bring up the emotion, they're it's right in the heart. Oh, it's a these emotions find organs, and they'll sit in there until this vibration comes in to iron it out. We can.
One thing I'm curious about. I'm sorry, I interrupt you all the time. I hate it, but like,
okay, that's all right. You're unprofessional. I don't mind.
Exactly. One thing I would like, and that I think you should do, or Sharon or whatever should set up, if you're not into it, is you need to do a double blind like experiment of this. It has to be, I would say you could do it 3 ways, but I would say 2 is fine. Like a meditation / mindfulness in one group. I guess you could also do nothing, but then in another group, and then your technique in another group, right? Someone practicing mindfulness with them, and then you doing your thing with them, and just see the differences. And again, it's tough because a lot of this is unmeasurable, right? A lot of it's subjective, but that's not necessarily like, it's tough to comprehend sometimes. But if someone is straight up telling you this feels better, and it feels better next week, and it feels better the week after that because this is happening, even if it is placebo effect, which we'd be testing for in an experiment like this, that's better than nothing. So I think placebo is better than nothing, but having a measurable change better than placebo is really what we're looking for. So is that happening? And is it better than mindfulness, which is really, I think, the main step that we're looking for? Because I do think that is an important thing that can help people.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to do any experiment. I'm just busy with stuff. But I can say I've have a number of. I have the top meditation teacher in the country, and he's flopping around like a fish on the table when I bring up certain things. And he used to. He doesn't anymore. But here he's been meditating for 35, 40 years, and all of that stuff from when he was a child was all in there. And so, it's you see it in someone like that who, he meditates, 4 or 5 times a day, has taught thousands and thousands of people. I mean, he literally is one of the top meditation teachers in the country. and seeing the anchored emotion around childhood stuff in him, and then watching it disappear. It's pretty. I don't need anything more than that for me. I'm convinced that this vibration eliminates those distortions and all known and unknown distortions. So we're, again, I'm the biggest skeptic on the planet. I don't believe anything. You better show me. I need to see it.
That's fair. No, I feel you, Dr. T. Yeah, I'm with you. I want to fully buy in. There's some things that I'm not, I can't cross the bridge quite yet. Maybe over time, but we will see. I still would love to see that experiment. If you guys could ever get that together, I would love to have you on again. If you do an experiment like that, I would love to see the results. That would be great.
Never know. Maybe they'll do something like that. We're always looking to expand, and I'm open to doing anything. I mean, these show and tells are crazy. They're just like,
because here's the thing, man. I think if you do that, honestly, let's say you get some funding together, or maybe you fund it yourself. You do this double-blind experiment, and it's within guidelines, so it's seen by, I don't know, whatever agencies have to be involved, and you get that done, man, and it shows better than that mindfulness practice, better than placebo, better than doing nothing, and whatever, even if it's on par with the current treatment, rehab and things like that for various things, even that is a breakthrough, let alone if it's as good as you say, which is way better than a lot of chronic treatment. I mean, that it might be one of the biggest things to happen, and this is a bit bold, but it would be major for people everywhere. So if it is true and real, and that would be amazing. If that's the one thing that came out of my podcast, let's say I do no numbers, nothing ever happens from this except someone comes up with an amazing chronic treatment because, not come up with, but was able to spread it around because I was the one that convinced them to do some kind of double-blind study on it. I mean, I'm good. Like I serve my life's purpose. But do that.
It is wild that we did get the biggest leap in your shoulder with the emotional treatment.
But I'm with that, and I think emotional treatment is huge, and I think that is a major thing that we're missing in modern Western medicine, and we're coming to it. I mean, we're doing cognitive behavioral therapy like majorly, right? And that's mostly for like mind type shit, not musculoskeletal type stuff. But they're also recommending yoga and other things to relax your body or extra stress it, right? So it is happening. It is happening a little bit. It could be doing more, but again, I'm just still missed at the angels, the quantum mechanics, and even if you're not using those words, just the gap between what you do without even using the words like that and mindfulness / emotional treatment. I think that's huge, but I just don't see where this is happening, and I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's fair. You're being honest.
Yeah. And that's what we do here on Unprofessional. So we'll wrap it up. Let me do a couple more things. So do you have any programs or events that are coming up, Dr. T?
Yeah, we're doing this show and tell. We're doing it tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Arizona time, and then again Saturday morning, 9 o'clock Arizona time. That's on the website. That's A Human Engineer. So A as in Adam, Human Engineer, all one word, .com. Everything's on the website. There's all the testimonials are on there. I have this class coming up at the end of March where I teach you this stuff over 3 days, and it's mind blowing. I think there's a coupon out there somewhere. We've got a bunch of free stuff on the website. There's a Relax to Heal. It's a hypnosis thing to help teach your mind how to just relax your body. It's really powerful. And there's a lymph video, how to clear your own lymph system on the website. So come check it out. Check out the testimonials. Look at the testimonials from the class, the graduates from the class. They're pretty profound. These people, half of them have no training at all, and they're creating stuff we have a doctor on there's like, well, I saw with my own eyes at least 7 miracles over the weekend. You see one miracle, I
would love that.
You believe. But when you see 7 over the weekend,
that'd be
that's
amazing.
A lot. And I thought there was like 10 or 12. I mean, so, that's what's up. Come check out my website. And, hey, thanks so much for having me on and what you're doing, being so open as a medical doctor. And so many people, You know, we need medical doctors. I saw your podcast with the husband and wife team. I'd love to reach out to them and tell them to come to my damn class. I love what they're doing, breaking away from the managed care and doing their own thing. I'd love to see this sort of work get in that kind of environment. I mean, we literally are doing stuff. It's just hard to wrap your mind around, but it's, you know, we're helping people.
Definitely. I mean, the if there's one thing to take, you know, it is a positive outlook. I mean, where the Western, you know, medicine and everything is kind of opening up to these types of ideas. So, you know, there's things to look forward to. You know, it's not all bad out there, even though it's hard to quite capture that. But yeah, check out Dr. T's website, guys, ahumanengineer.com. He's got a couple programs on there. Check out Dr. T's Got Your Back and Crazy Unknown Shift for the newest ones. Yeah, thanks again.
Yeah,
Dr. T.
Those are like group healings. Like those are like 4 1-hour group healings. So it's anything going on. If you see the show and tell, it's kind of like the show and tell.
I'm a pro.
He's very unprofessional.
These are our newly arrived surgeons, Doctors Trowbridge and Greenbaum.
I put together those programs so people
Doctor?
could have an opportunity to get some healing
Doctor?
on stuff that they just don't know what's wrong with. You know?
We're not
There
doctors.
you go.
Are you sure
All right,
they
yeah,
can
check out those
handle
guys you're talking about, BSV,
You'll forgive us
MD,
if
and check
we're
out
not
Dr. T,
still with
and
contact.
appreciate you, Dr. T.
Potentially
Thanks so much for having me on,
unprofessional
Doc.
pieces of
Take care,
content.
man. See
Take
you.
care. Okay.